Hi, I'm David, and this is the 2024 Holiday Hack Challenge, Hardware Hacking 101. This is the two-parter challenge of Act 1, the last two-parter challenge. They're also marked as easy challenges. The hard part of the challenge, I think, for part 2 is a tougher one. The hard part or gold version of the part 1 of the challenge is I think it's a confusing one, but let me show you what I mean by that. So as I mentioned, that this is a two-parter challenge. If you go to your objectives, you will see two separate trophies for the two separate steps or parts of the challenge. And it's also very important to complete the Frosty Keypad challenge because it will make your life significantly easier. You can figure out the challenge without doing that, but there's an item which you will not have if you are not completing that challenge and then talk to Morcel. So Morcel is going to give you a piece of or a bowl of shredded paper, and this is directing you to a URL. I'm probably just going to copy the URL and show it to you. Copy link address. So it points you to this location, and these shreds, I'm going to open a few of them just to give you an idea. So altogether you will have 1,000 pieces of these stripes, these little pictures, images. So these are going to give us the necessary information that we need to solve the challenge. I have the previous video open here. Let me just close that one. So this is going to be necessary for us to solve the challenge, and we need to talk to Jewel. Again, navigating with the keypad. One thing that I requested from the creators, it would be very nice to go for the map and do like a fast travel. So Jewel is actually down here, just below the challenge, and you have two terminals here. So Jewel logins, is the elf that you need to talk to next. And Jewel is going to give you an important hint for the challenge, for the shredded pieces, to reassemble the pieces with this heuristic edge detection Python script. I'm not sure if this will open either. It does. Okay, so it's a gist on GitHub. Here's the code. We'll take a closer look at the code next. So with these two pieces and this Python script, you will be able to get the info to solve the first part of the challenge. So this is the script, fairly simple. We use things like NumPy to calculate the best match of the edges of the document that is displayed. You don't have to do anything. Basically, if you place the zip file and decompress it, it will decompress to the directory slices. Let's see here at the bottom and inside the main function slices, and it's going to create the assembled image PNG. So all you need to do is just download this zip file, download the Python, place it next to it, decompress the zip file, so it will have the shreds folder, and then run the Python script. So let me just do that. Python. Okay, what was this? Heuristic. No, these are my notes. There we go. So you just run the Python script, and that was not found. Probably it's not Python 3 then. There we go. So this will create an output file for us, for a while. I'm going to open that file to display it to you. And here's how the reassembled file will look like. It has done a pretty good job. We can easily see that the document is not fully pieced together, so we need to do some image manipulation here. It also looks kind of cryptic, but maybe we can figure out something. So I'm going to take the same image now and just open it with Paint. Let's do some transformations on this. The first part is pretty straightforward. I need to take this piece here and then put it on the other side. Just use the select tool. I'm going to just approximately try to piece this to the appropriate location. Yeah, this is more or less okay. What we can see is like this part here looks like data, but it's written backwards. So I can flip horizontally and see bold, party, data, flow control. What is this? A control bits, I think. Yeah. So this is the information for the terminal that we need to operate next. I'm going to put this one aside for now. Close this one here. I believe we can also close this one and go back to the challenge. So here, Joel tells us that Santa has this device that communicates through UART, and we need to access a terminal here. Apparently we had an extra hint using this device called Santa's little helper access card maintenance tool. So Santa has I believe the wish list from the kids stored in this device, Santa's little helper tool, and there is this maintenance tool that allows us to access the terminal through UART. So we're going to use a USB to UART bridge device here, and it shows us the pin layout for the UART bridge. Oops, I don't know why I closed this one. Apologies for that. Let me just open this back again. And this is the X that you need to click on. So you see here this little device. There is the USB. We're going to plug it to this UART bridge. And this is the IoT device that we need to talk to through the UART interface. So we're going to plug in this device, and we also need to power up our maintenance tool. So this one allows you to zoom in. You can start the serial connection by pushing the button start, and then left right to select the value, up down and select the options. All right, sounds good. So we have port, baud rate, parity, data, stop bits, and flow control. Okay, this should be easy. So baud rate is something we have, parity, even, data 7 bits, stop bits then was, yeah, it wasn't control bits, sorry, stop bits was 1, and then flow control is RTS. Okay, easy. Baud rate, parity was even, data bits 7, 1 stop bit, we don't need to change this one, and then flow control was RTS. All right, we can zoom out. And there's one more thing that we need to configure, but I intentionally will leave it like this because the port information was not on the piece of paper that we reassembled. So let's connect now the UART ports. So we have VCC, going to VCC on the device, and you can just place it. I think when you hear a click, that should be good. So ground. Those are the two easy ones. And for UART, well, either you know this, I had the fortune or misfortune to deal with IoT devices, but for UART interfaces for the this is transmit, you need to swap it on the other end. So I'm going to connect the bridges transmit to the receive side. This is just how UART works. So there's really no like magic. You just have to know this, or well, look it up. And then same for the RX part. So this allows us for the UART communication. So one side transmits, on the other side we connect it to the receive side, and vice versa. And then yeah, voltage and power is just normally how you connect it. You don't have to use these colors for the wires. It's just a good practice. Okay, so at this point I can try to connect, but I forgot one thing. So if you open the manual, there's also a part that tells you that you have to pay attention to the voltage. So there's a little switch here, and I need to flip it to 3 volts. This will allow me to try the serial connection, but it cannot be established. And very easy. What we need to still fix here is the port is COM1. So if you check your options, you see that there's a USB 0. There's also COM2, COM3, but we're connecting through USB here. So if I hit the send, yippee, we are connected. Okay, so this was the easy part of the challenge. I'm intentionally not gonna click on this because it is just easier to go and navigate to the hard part of the challenge here. No, actually I have to exit probably. Yeah, recommendation, you should do this in a separate window. I have to close the terminal. Hopefully we'll be able to do the request still without connecting all the parts again. So Joel tells us that we did a fantastic job, and rumor is that you might be able to bypass the hardware altogether for the gold medal. Why not see if you can find that shortcut? Now, the thing is, we still need to go back to the challenge in this case, because we have to look up the inner workings. I'm going to connect everything one more time. Just super fast without any explanation. Let's turn this one on. And I will explain why we're connecting everything again. This DuPont cables. DuPont cables. Alright, good enough. Let's see. This is USB. Baud rate. All right, so and don't forget to switch the voltage. So the reason why I'm doing this is twofold. First, I would like to capture this. Let's go to my proxy and see what is being passed on when we strange, what is missing? I think we have everything that was needed. Wow, that is just fantastic. Did I incorrectly set something here? Stop bits. Does this? Okay. It's probably because of the capture. It doesn't matter. We will be able to probably do this without the hardware part, like the elf said. So what you need to check here is the source code, of course, and because, well, you can suspect that this is a JavaScript challenge. So if you that's the wrong one. Oh, fantastic. Now it's kind of being flaky. Not super happy about it. Let's try it another time. What I'm going to do is probably just open this in a separate window. Do this. There's an easier time to observe the JavaScript part. I've seen here the request that we will need. This returned a true, so this was the request that we sent, and the serial connection details were under this serial array. The voltage is set to 3, and there's a request ID. Hopefully this request ID is still valid. Let me check if this still returns true. Okay, still returns true. That's good. And then obviously, because this is mostly just on the client side and JavaScript based, your initial idea might be to look at the source. There we go. There is a main JS function. And I already set a couple breakpoints here because I was trying to, well, overthink. I made a lot of overthinking of this challenge. And browsing through the code will get you to, where are they? There should be a set of variables. Did I just quote as them? For text. Yeah, there's a current port index and parity and whatnot. Initially I tried to manipulate these values in the hopes that the challenge would work. Then normally when you hit the send button without connecting the wires, you can see some messages displayed here. So that can be a great clue for you to search for these and check what validation is being done. So if you keep scrolling up, I scrolled way over there. Yeah, you will see that these messages are under the check conditions function. And within the check condition, there's a check it function that is being called. And that's where I set up my breakpoints. This is the interesting part. So this is what you need to find. I'm not really sure what they mean by not requiring the hardware. I guess because you can just, make the same request to this different endpoint. So reading the comments in the source code, you will see that there is a V1 of the API. This is actually a pretty good example of some of the backends for these IoT devices. So it's a very realistic example here. And we saw that sending the V2 API call gets us the silver trophy for the challenge. I'll try to position the page here and attempt to send the same request, but this time for the V1 API endpoint. So this talks about as mentioned, brute force their way in through the V1 API. I'm not really sure what they mean by updated API here, because if you do not know the combination because you forgot to assemble the shredded pieces, or not forgot, but you didn't figure out how to reassemble them, and you don't have the correct information for the UART connection, then you can still brute force those values even on V2. So this challenge is a bit strange, because if you make the request to not the V2 but the V1 API endpoint, you get the gold unlock. Kind of surprising, but it's also cool that it's this easy. So just read the source code and you will realize that there's a V1 API. I tried a bunch of things and eventually I bumped into this as I was not successful with manipulating the JavaScript calls. So that's it. This gets you the gold hardware hacking 1. If you check the objectives, we have gold. You can talk to the elf and Jewel will give you valuable information for the next challenge, so you can get the hints for the next challenge. And Jewel talks about the second terminal and how you need to modify one access card to get like high privileges. Again, this is the second part of the challenge, so we will see it in a separate video. So I'm not entirely sure if I solved the gold one correctly. I talked to a few other peoples on the Discord, and they also were a bit confused about why this was the hard part of the challenge, but well, it kind of works, so I'm happy. Again, if you have not recovered the shredded pieces and have not assembled them, you might be required to brute force all the various values. I would recommend setting them to the value that is one back from the start position if you're clicking on the terminal, and then make a request. This will generate a post request with the maximum values of all the parameters. There's only 6 parameters, so you can easily create like with intruder a brute force attack and do that. I'm not going to do it here. I don't want to make the video too long, but that is the way. If you want to see how to operate the brute forcer, then in the previous video we did the brute forcing, so I don't want to do it here. You just need to have 6 different fields, and most of the fields will go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, or just 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, that is. And there's one field for the baud rate that has 10 different values. You can easily figure out by just looking at the request, or you can just brute force the various combinations from 0 to 9, all the digits. That should be also very fast, but depending on what is the workload on the back end, it can take significant amount of time. So that's it for part 1. If you would like to see part 2, then come with me to the next video.